This is a Europhile review of Flashpoint Fire Rescue Extreme Danger expansion pack, which is the new kickstarted expansion for Flashpoint Fire Rescue. It comes in a big box the same size as the original Flashpoint, which means that between the two boxes you can almost fit everything into the boxes. That said, I do also keep a little plastic box full of extra pieces which I obviously can't fit in, but that's because it's my chosen storage system. I suppose I could have chosen something a bit smaller, but we haven't yet achieved that sort of big box that keeps everything in, which a lot of people have been asking for. What this game does have is it has a reversible board, so this board that you can see in the back here, with two different maps. On one side it's got a garage, and on the other side it's got a laboratory full of explosive materials. And then it has a second map, which is the small map that you can see at the end there, which is a half-size sort of map which has an attic on one side and a basement on the other side. And these can be added on to the other boards. The attic or the basement could be added onto the board from the base game. You could add them onto the second story expansion. It may not work so well adding them with the urban structures, but certainly it opens up a lot of possibilities for different board layouts for the game. The Kickstarter package came with various promo items, which I don't know how easily available these are going to be. I believe that these extra figures here are going to be able to be purchased separately, but I'm not sure what happens with these tokens now. Let's start off with the figures. So we've got the rescue dog, who has 12 AP, and he can run around a lot. He can't move through fire. In fact, he can't do much. He can't open doors, but he can drag people. So he is quite useful for rescuing victims. You'll also notice that we've got these little rubbery sort of bases for these figures, so that we can put different colours onto them so we know who's playing what, and those work extremely well actually. They go on very easily, so if you're exchanging roles it's no problem to take these on and off. This other character we've got here is the veteran. So this is the veteran card here. The veteran is inspiring to his other firefighters, so if you're close to him you get extra action points, and he also gives you the ability to dodge explosions. These figures are very similar to the figures that come with this expansion. So that's one big part of the expansion that I didn't mention before, is that it comes with figures for all the different specialists in the game. So this one, for example, is the imaging technician. You have a look over here. We've got the hazmat technician. So there's a figure for each individual role, which is a really nice addition to the game and makes it more thematic. These promos, we have realistic victims now if we want to use them. Personally, I don't use these. I like to use the original artwork, but we've got all these very miserable and glamorous looking victims. I prefer the faceless victims. And now we have these new promo items like this heavy victim. And the rule set for these is yet to be officially produced, but we can fairly easily work out what these are going to be. And I'm sure it's being discussed on the forums as I speak. This one is a victim who has yet to be treated and is going to need to be treated before you can even move them. This one has already been treated and therefore you can follow you without you having to treat the person first, so you don't have to carry this one. We've got a goldfish and a ferret, which work the same as the dog and the cat in the base game, so are essentially treated as victims, if you like that element of the game. And then we've got this victim who is on an oxygen mask and hence will explode if fire gets onto him. We've got some of these doors which turn out to be locked. Again, the rules are yet to come up, but I imagine we have to chop through these doors or something like that. These promos add a lot to the game, but as I say, I don't know how readily available they are. It's not just the ones I've got here. We've got a whole bunch of each of this type. I've just laid out one of each type to show you here. But as I say, they may not come in the box sets when you buy them. So, but I mention them because I use them in the games, and I'll use them in the games that I'm then going to talk through with you. Here is the Flashpoint Extreme Danger board set up for a 6-player game. This is actually post-game, so I've just failed to complete this particular mission. Here we have the basement involved as well from the Extreme Danger expansion. So initially, if we look at the upper floor, what we can see here is that the upper floor is illustrated with a lot of these sort of images of canisters and things like this. We get these little tokens which represent toxic waste canisters. Now, if they take 4 damage, then this is going to be removed from the board and we're going to have a chemical spill. This didn't actually happen in my game, but we have a series of these tokens which represent chemical spills, and these toxic waste will then spill around the area, and this can only be cleared by the hazmat technician. It cannot be cleared by anybody else, and nobody else can go into those spaces. It will also kill any victims in those spaces. You'll also notice here we have these green fire doors. Now these are new, so they go on these green spaces on here. They can be open and closed like normal doors, but if an explosion happens next to them, instead of the door being blown off, what we get instead is to place a jammed token on there. Now if another explosion happened, it still won't get blown off. What would happen would be another jammed token would go on there. And so it becomes increasingly hard to get through these doors after a series of explosions, because to get through them, a firefighter is going to have to chop. And each time they chop that door, they remove a jam token, another one, and now they're going to be able to open that door. Another thing that we get in here, this is not a promo, is a window. Now we've seen these before in the second story expansion, but these blue areas here, we can open these windows and then gain access out through the window, although we're on an upper floor here, so we're going to need either a ladder to go down or some other way of getting down. So the ladders are like this. These are portable ladders, and you have 4 of these, I think, on the fire engine. And what happens when you place a portable ladder is that one end will go here, and the other end will go on the corresponding space down here. And now you can move between that space and that space and go in through windows. The other way of going up between floors is to use this new hydraulic platform. So from the engine, the hydraulic platform can be placed anywhere on that side of the board. So I could place it along here, and the deck gun operator could go up with it. For him, it only costs 2 action points. For other people, it costs 3 action points to bring that platform up there. Now what he can also do from that platform is fire a hose. So this is an alternative to the deck gun. So he can fire a hose which will hit this space, and it will extinguish this space, and this space. He's not allowed to do that if there is a victim in one of these spaces. It doesn't say anywhere in the rules that you can't do it if there's a firefighter in those spaces, unlike the deck gun. I don't know whether that's something that's been missed, but that seems to be the official rule at the moment. If we move down to the lower floor, we see that there is this large explosive here. So this, if it takes 4 cubes of damage, these all count towards the total for bringing the building down, then this will explode, and it will explode to here, to here, to here, to here, and it's going to create hotspots as well. So that's what this is, explosive. On the other side there's a car which works in the same way, but this is for the garage side of the Extreme Danger board. You see here this is an open fire door. We've mentioned the fire doors before, but the other thing you're going to notice is these damaged floor tokens. Now these are all over this board because there have been a lot of explosions going on in the basement below. So here's the basement board over here, and you'll see it's numbered from 9 till 12, and we've now got a 12-sided dice to use in the place of the previous 8-sided dice for when rolling to see whether explosions happen. So in the basement you can't blow holes in the wall here, so instead the impact goes upwards, and if you have an explosion it creates one of these markers above. If a second explosion happens in that same spot, this is flipped over. 2 cubes are discarded towards the damage to bring the building down, but also we now have a hole in this floor and this space becomes unusable. We can't move through this space. We can, however, use another of these portable ladders to move over it, and we can also use a portable ladder to go down through that space into the basement. So now we're able to get through between those spaces. So this is another new element to the game. Now, this basement gives this fantastic feeling of sort of claustrophobia, mainly because there's only one way out. You can't go out through the walls, you can't chop your way out, you can't go through windows, and the only way out is up through this staircase here. And we have extra staircase tiles that we can place on the board to give us access to that if we want to use the basement. So you can have a situation where you get completely blocked in by fire. You might have a wall of fire all around here, and there really is no other way out apart from getting through that fire. One thing you'll see here is this guy. He's got this little symbol on there to say that this is a big guy. Okay, this is a heavy victim. So we haven't got the rules yet. I'm sure they'll be arriving soon. He's a promo, but I imagine he'll be something like double AP to move him, which really creates really interesting dilemmas. I had the situation where I had saved 5 victims. I needed to save 2 more, and I had 3 to choose from. Well, obviously, there's the temptation to leave this one behind, which I think is a fascinating sort of real-life dilemma, I suppose. Do you save the 2 that you know that you can save, but then you're condemning this guy? Real ethical dilemma there, which is fantastic to be able to represent that in a game. We've got other promo ones. This guy is particularly fascinating, and I've had a good time playing with him. So this guy's got an oxygen tank. If fire goes onto this guy, he's going to explode like hazardous material. So he's a particularly dangerous victim. So he spent a long time in this game down in the basement with another character guarding him, trying to prevent fire getting anywhere near him, even though they had no way of getting him up that staircase. So that's a particularly great promo. I'm not sure how widely available these promos are going to be, but initially they're coming with the Kickstarter Extreme Danger set. Other promos that we've got over here, we've got this victim here who has been treated already, so she doesn't need to be carried. She can be carried out. She can follow a firefighter out at 1 AP, so she's great to find her. But this one, you can't carry her until she's been treated. So finding her when you haven't got the paramedic in play is a bit of a nightmare, because now you're going to have to change role to bring the paramedic into play in order to get her treated, so that you can carry her out. Here's another promo. This is a point of interest, which turns out to be a hazardous material. So this is obviously a negative thing, but putting these promos into play really changes the feel of the game. They're a great addition to the game. We also have, as a promo, these doors which turn out to be locked. So I like to stick one of these in randomly, so I don't know which door is locked, but somewhere on the board there may be a locked door, and you go to open it and find that you can't. So again, great promos. The other side of the Extreme Danger board, I'll probably show you in a different video, but we have a garage setting with this car in it, and the other side of this basement board is a loft that you can attach to other boards, so you could put this on your second story, or on the second story expansion, or on the base set. You could add it onto the house there, and having these 3 levels really does broaden the game out. We have more explosions to make it a bit more difficult, so things aren't too spread out. But having to deal with, some people dealing down here, some people dealing up here, some up here, particularly in a 6-player game, really does add something to the game. I think that's all the components that I need to show you at the moment. There is one other. The other one is this. So on the reverse of the toxic waste canisters, we have these small explosives, which work a little like this large explosive. If you get 4 tokens on there, that is going to explode, and then it's going to explode again. So you get a big explosion that's going to do a lot of damage. So that's what that one is for. This is the game set up midway through a game using the garage side of the Extreme Danger board, with the attic added on to give an upstairs to this area. Now, this board doesn't particularly have anything new, which isn't also featured in the laboratory part of the board, but we can incorporate again little extra explosive things like this canister here, or the back of it, which is the explosive, the small explosive. We have the car placed in the garage area here, and if this gets 4 cubes on it, then that will explode in all directions. So that's a major portion of the game. We've got this series of small rooms around here, and then once we get up into the attic area, then we have an upstairs board similar to the upstairs boards in the second story expansion. So we have this hydraulic platform here, which we can use to get from the engine to take us up from the engine to this outside area here, and then we can go in through windows or through doors inside the loft there. You can see down here that we have the staircase tile again, which we've added to the board in order to give us a way to get up to that loft area. But basically this board, to me, it feels a little simpler than the other board because we've got this wide open space here to move around in, which means that fire will spread more quickly, but it also means it's easier for us to get around, and it's certainly easier for our little rescue dog promo character here to run around with his 12 action points, since he's unable to open doors or do anything like that, so he needs a bit of an open space. That's about all that I can really say about this side of the board. Otherwise it plays pretty similar to the laboratory side. Flashpoint Fire Rescue has been a favourite of mine for quite a long time now. I hesitate to put it right at the top of the list of classic games, mainly because of the amount of randomness in the game. It does swing from extremely difficult to extremely easy, purely on the basis of a bunch of dice rolls. What's great about that, though, is that that's entirely thematic. You know, the spread of the fire is unpredictable. It completely prevents the alpha player syndrome that you get in a lot of co-ops, because it's very hard for anyone to predict exactly what's going to happen. And as a result, it's all just quite an exciting ride. This new expansion really fleshes things out. It gives us a whole load of fantastic new options, not least those promos. Now I know they're not going to all be available in the box. I'm trying to remember whether those little plastic coloured discs are in the box or not, because they're really nice, and the figures are a fantastic expansion. The figures are definitely in the expansion, including the structural engineer from the Urban Structures expansion, although without the card, but you do get the figure. It's the hydraulic platform is a fantastic addition. The fire doors are an excellent addition. That basement is brilliant, really brilliant. The claustrophobia of being stuck in there and not being able to get out, and the collapsing floors that happen around it. It all works excellently. It's all logical. It all makes thematic sense. It doesn't really make the game harder. It doesn't really make the game longer, but it does give us a lot more options for different board layouts. And all in all, it's a must-have expansion. I think it's probably the best expansion that I've seen so far. I'm undecided yet on whether I prefer this one or the Dangerous Waters expansion, which I'm sure I'll talk about in another video. But of the Urban Structures and Second Story, I think we've got a significant step forward here with Extreme Danger, and I think it's well worth getting a copy of it, not least for those figures, but all the other additional tiles are very cleverly designed. They're simple to use, and they really do open up the game and make it into something even more exciting and even more thematic than it already was. So excellent expansion. If you like the base game, definitely get a copy of Extreme Danger.